Hi, and welcome to Outside Perspective. Here I give you some reflections on stuff that I see is interesting and relevant for the manufacturing industry, or just plain interesting in the intersection between business and sustainability. And I have three things with me today for you. And this is recorded, as you can see, in the forest, where I have the luxury of being out here with my cute little dog, or not so little perhaps, but anyway. So three things that I found relevant to comment on here today is, first of them, over the summer a lot of stuff has happened, and obviously we have had the EU Parliamentary elections, and we did get a bit of a shift towards the right, but I think the key takeaway for me when I look at the sort of now that the dust has settled a bit, that even though sustainability is definitely and climate is definitely moved a bit down the agenda, I think it's wrong to look at the signals and the discussions that we hear right now and think that, well, perhaps we'll have less environmental regulations and well, altogether directions coming from the European Union on this. And the reason for that is that the majority of the things that will hit us in the coming years is already set in motion. So I think it's important not to mistake that the change going on right now in the current parliament for what's going to be affecting the market in the years to come. Also, on a final note on that, I think we will see that there's a bit of a shift from perhaps talking about climate as the main thing towards more focus on security and on national sovereignty and how that can impact sustainability. So I think look for different words, but we will still see progress and changes in this area. The second thing that I want to bring to you that's happened over the summer is that as the first country in the world, Denmark created a carbon tax for the agricultural sector. And the reason why that's a bit interesting, I think, is that two things. One is how it's done, that our government has spent years trying to debate this over different governments and couldn't agree. So they set down they actually put it out to the interest to all the actors that are involved here. So they had a formal agreement based on recommendations or model that is created at a negotiation table where all the parties needed to be involved were there. So there were people representing agriculture, there were people representing nature as an NGO, and there were people representing the unions. And one thing that's interesting is that they decided to broaden the scope from just being about carbon to also include areas like the nutrients that run off and pollute our waters and deforestation and the European demand for biodiversity habits and thereby because in Denmark we have quite low number of untouched areas. So they sort of weaved in different areas to find common ground. And because it's created this way, I think the odds of it being actually implemented is significantly bigger. So I think that's a relevant part. One thing that I would have made significantly different, though, if I were the government, is that I would have had a different starting point. Because even though the agricultural sector in Denmark, and I think it's the same as far as I know for most of Europe, really is struggling from a business perspective, there's been nothing about how do we secure a future version, a better version of the agricultural sector. So if it had been me, I would have, just need to pass through all of this. All right. So if I were me, I had a different starting point. I would start with questions like, what would it take to create an agricultural sector that has a healthy from a business perspective, a healthy business that contributes to creating healthy nutrients and products for a growing market, people who are starting to care about that, and that are also part of the solution, and maintaining and really supporting that ecosystem that the whole sector are so entirely dependent upon. So I think if it were me, just as in anything else, and what we do also with businesses, is to make sure that we tie the work on sustainability into the core of business. And I guess the main pain point for most of these farmers must be whether or not they can pay the bill next month. So I think that's the biggest change I would have made. But other than that, I think it's interesting, and it might form a model for all the sort of areas where it's hard to find common ground from a political point of view. The last one that I want to share with you here today is a question I got recently that I think is quite interesting, and I know a lot of you manufacturing leaders are thinking about this and asking these kind of questions. It's really about, how do I create demand for a more sort of sustainable, green, whatever you want to call it, product? So I got this question, I think last week or something, and what I would like to share here with you is that I think it's the wrong question to ask, or I would say that the thinking behind it creates the wrong question. Because if you are in a market where nobody is looking for a quote-unquote green version of your product, well, don't spend time there. What you should do instead is have a look at what are they really desiring right now, what do they call it, and find ways to translate it. And also look into your own business and see what are the main things we're struggling with. So let's just say that customers are really worried about the cost and the cost structure of your product, or you yourself need to find ways to cut costs. Then instead of focusing on how can we develop a green product and sell to the market, then look at all the ways where you can use the circular economy and that focus on resource flow to create solutions that will minimize your cost by reducing waste, by optimizing the use of the raw materials, or by finding different ways where you can gain value on materials that you would otherwise pay to get rid of. So there are myriads of ways where you can use the circular economy to optimize various parts of your business. So looking at what is it that the clients really want, and then go with that. So as always, it's really not about selling the green product. It's about using sustainability and circular economy to create better solutions, better products that better fit the wishes and demands from the clients. And then, that's what's going to beat your competition. And then the fact that it's also better for the world, well, that's just sort of like a bonus that you can sell, because there's a very limited amount of people that are ready to just pay because of the fact that it's sustainable or green or whatever, or better for the world. But there's a lot of people that want to pay for getting a better and smarter meeting of their needs. So these were the three things that I have wanted to share with you this time around. If this was in any way interesting, obviously I would like a like, and I'm sure you know how to subscribe. So if this is your thing, please do that. And questions, comments, or themes that you would like reflections on, just use the comments, and I will see you in another episode. Thank you. Bye.